Hey, sup, Drago here, and welcome back to the Next.js 14 series. In the previous episode, we styled our app using ShadCN UI and gave it a slick, modern look. Now that we've got the UI in the place, it's time to focus on making our forms functional and secure. In this video, we're diving into React Hook Form and Zod to handle form validation. So let's get started. React Hook Form is a library that simplifies working with forms in React. Unlike traditional forms that can be a bit bulky to manage, React Hook Form allows us to easily manage the form state with minimal code. And the best part, it integrates seamlessly with validation libraries like Zod, which leads us to the next part. Zod is a powerful TypeScript-first schema declaration and validation library. It helps ensure that the data we're working with is in the correct shape before we process it. Together, React Hook Form and Zod make form handling and validation efficient, type-safe, and super easy to implement. Now in the last video, we actually installed the button component from ShadCN UI, right? So what we are gonna do is just write bunx --bun ShadCN at latest and then add. Once the list is here, we can actually select what components we wanna add. Now I have already done it, and I believe you remember in the mutation video I told you about toasts, so we'll be using the Sonar. This one is actually our toast component. We have to set it up, so we're just gonna go to app layout.tsx and we're just gonna import the toaster, which is imported from our UI Sonar, and we'll just import it over here. We're gonna clear up some space by removing the unnecessary folders and files. So I only kept the API/users and the users route. Now let's actually move to the utils.ts inside the lib folder, and here we're going to make a function as generate ID. Now this function will return a 6-digit random ID generated by math.random. Now once we're done here, we can actually move to lib/validations. Here you're going to make a user.ts file and an index.ts file. Now I've already prepared all these files, so I'm just going to walk you through. First of all, we're going to create a user schema. This will represent the user object. So what we are doing is we are exporting a user schema variable from the file with z that is imported from Zod. Now we can write z.object, so this gives the object template, and inside it we're going to write id, which is going to be a number with int, and obviously it's going to be positive. Now next we're going to write username. If username is undefined, we're going to write a required error with username is required. And then we're going to write minimum of 3, so username must be at least 3 characters long, and then max as 20, so username must be at most 20 characters long. Lastly, we're going to have a password with z.string with the same required error, and we're going to have a regex. Next we have the create user schema. So we're actually extending from the existing schema, the user schema that is over here, and after extending, we're actually generating a default ID and assigning it to the ID. Now here's the thing you need to understand. Once the user is created, or we're showing the users on the client side, obviously we do not want to send the user password on the client, right? These schemas are only for client-side response. And lastly, we're actually defining a type by inferring it directly from the schema, which is user data, create user data, and save user data. Once we're done here, we can actually go to the app/users/route.ts. Now here, a lot of things have changed. First of all, we're actually importing the schemas over here, and finally we're actually importing the type, user data. Now next, obviously we're going to import the next request and next response, and also we're actually importing the Zod error. For the export async function get, what we are doing is we're returning the JSON, but this time, as the user's object already contains the password, we're actually filtering it using the save users array schema, which comes from the user.ts. Next, for the post. First of all, as you can see, we're actually wrapping it inside a try catch because we're throwing an error over here. So let's actually go line by line. So first of all, we're actually doing constant body equals to rhetoric.json, and then we're actually parsing the body using the create user schema. So now we have fully typed object or the variable user with ID, username, and password. Now we're going to check whether the username already exists in the array or not. As we're throwing an error, we have to catch it, right? So we'll go to that later, but for now, once the user is sanitized, we can just push the user to the user's array. As a response, we're going to return the newly created user, but without the password. Now, inside the catch block, we're checking whether the error instance is a Zod error or not. We're sending a long message using error.issues.map with issue.message. And lastly, as this returns an array, we're actually joining it using comma. Next up, if the error is an instance of error, we'll just be sending the error.message. And lastly, we're just going to send a 500 with internal server error. And that's it for the backend. Now let's head over to the page.tsx inside the users. So let's break it down what's happening in this file. Similar to the last video, we're actually using the use query hook from our endpoint /api/users. We're converting it to JSON, and lastly we're returning the data.data as safe user data. So this time it is properly typed with the ID and username with an array or undefined. Now, if we're currently fetching, we're going to return a loading state, and if we're not, then we're going to return this whole card. So if users is defined, because it can be undefined, so if it is defined and it has length that is greater than 0, we're going to map the users over here. And if it is not, then we're going to just write no users found. Lastly, for the button, we're actually making a create user button that will navigate us to the /users/create page. So let's actually visit the create page and see what's happening over here. We're defining the constant form with use form. This is the hook that React Hook Form provides us. Now this takes a generic component, which is our create user data, with ID, username and password inside it. Here comes the resolver part. As we're using Zod as our validation library, we're importing the Zod resolver, and inside it we're passing the create user schema. This also contains the ID, username and password. Now we're assigning some default values to the username and password, which are just empty strings. Next up, before actually moving to the use mutation, let's actually explore the form. So the form component, and we're spreading the form props over here. This form is the same form that was written from the use form hook. Next up, we're using the HTML form tag, and inside the on submit, we're triggering the mutation. We'll come to that later too. Now, inside the card content, we are using the form field. Inside it, we're defining the control, which is the form.control. Now, next up, we're going to render the form item. So inside it, we're going to have the form item with form label as username, then with the form control with input as placeholder as enter username. Lastly, we're going to spread all the filled props inside input. And after form control, we're going to write form message. So if for some reason the validation fails and React Hook Form returns us any error, the form message will be shown over here. So just under the input. Similar to how we did for the username, we're going to make the form field for password. But this time for the input, we're going to write type as password. So here inside the card footer, we're actually defining two buttons. So the first button is going to be a type of submit. We're going to disable it if the mutation is occurring or the form is not dirty. Now inside the button, we're going to write create. And for the second button, we're just going to handle the onClick event with router.push and then /users. And inside it, we're going to write go back. Now for the mutation. So first of all, we're going to handle the onMutate function. So this happens before the mutation occurs. We're going to send a toast with toast.loading with creating user. And then we're going to return the toast ID from the onMutate. Now inside the mutation function, we're going to handle it asynchronously. And inside it, we're going to write values as properly typed with create user data. Now inside it, we're going to send a request to the /api/users with method of post and body with JSON.stringify of values. Next, when the response is back, we're going to convert it to JSON, and if the response has any long message, so then we're going to throw an error with the long message, where the return data.data, and the data will contain any response that is being sent from the backend. Now once the mutation is successful, we're going to handle the onSuccess event. The first parameter is data, next parameter is the variables, and lastly, of the context. Now this context is the same context that we returned over here. So if I don't return anything from onMutate, it's gonna give me error over here. So inside the onSuccess block, we're gonna write toast.success with user created successfully. And after that, we're gonna pass a param with ID as toast ID. So this time on the success, instead of creating a new toast, it's gonna update the existing loading toast. Once the user is created, we're gonna navigate to /users page. Now next up, for the on error, the first parameter becomes the error itself. Next, the variables or the values, and lastly, the context. So what we are doing is return toast.error with error.message, and lastly, ID with ctx, optional chaining with toast ID. So let's actually test it out using one run dev. So we're going to head over to create users page. So for the username, we're going to write 1, and for the password, we're also going to write 1. Let's see what happens if we hit create. Well, we got the errors as expected. So let's actually fix it by writing password 1 exclamation. Okay, so let's hit create. See, we have the toast with user created successfully, and we have the user listed over here. Now we can create another user on top of that. So let's actually try creating another user with the same name. So let's actually hit create. Now this gives us an error with username already exists and the form was not submitted. So let's actually change it to test2 and try it out again. This time it worked by the test1 and test2. And that's a wrap for this video. We have explored React Hook Form and Zod to efficiently handle user validation in our app. In the next video, we'll dive deeper into backend essentials by setting up a database. We're going to use Supabase Postgre alongside Drizzle ORM. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more. But before I finish up, I want to let you in on something exciting. If you're enjoying the content and want to support me, you can join my Patreon at patreon.com/itsdrvgo. As a subscriber, you'll get early access to all my videos a day or two before they go public on YouTube. Plus, you'll be able to see exclusive behind the scenes, get sneak peeks of upcoming projects and much more. It's a great way to stay ahead of the curve and get involved in shaping future content. Also, if you have any questions or need help with anything we covered, don't hesitate to join our Discord server. I'm active there and it's the best place to connect with me and the community. You'll find the link in the description below. Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next